We're with Mayor Pro Tem Sheryl Cole, who is running for Mayor of Austin. Thank you for being here, Sheryl.
Glad to be here. Good to see you, Brandy.
Let's start off with the big vision. The next 5 year, what is your greatest hope in terms of the environment for Austin's future?
I think it's important that we continue to move forward on our environmental values and promote zero waste, climate protection, and water conservation.
Okay. Let's go into those.
Okay.
Climate protection. How, I know you helped sponsor the Climate Protection 2.0, you're calling it?
Yes, we are. I was a co-sponsor on the 2.0 resolution that was led by Councilmember Riley, and basically we were looking at the fact that we're reaching our goals, our renewable energy goals,
right,
and wanting to set targets of an earlier date for that, and actually give Austin Energy some direction and a long-term vision for that, and I'm fully supportive of that.
Great. So I'm serving on some of the technical advisory groups related to that, and transportation is a challenging one. Tell us how you think we can get to that net zero greenhouse gas emissions community-wide, especially in the realm of transportation.
Well, I voted for the proposition that's going to be on the ballot in November, and I think
Prop 1.
Yeah, Prop 1. I think that is an important item for the voters to be able to consider, because we need to take more cars off the road and reduce our carbon emission. And I think that's important also because we really need to have a plan that fits in with the Imagine Austin plan, where we actually say that we're going to live, work, and play in our core transit corridors.
Right. So whether or not the rail passes, or the proposition, we're going to have to do more than that. So what else do you think you should be leading on?
Well, we just got back the Water Conservation Task Force recommendations, and one of the things that they made abundantly clear was two things. One, we need to continue with water conservation, and I sat on the Water Conservation Task Force back in 2007, and I think it is really wonderful how this community has embraced water conservation. And then the second thing that I think really is going to take a lot of energy for us to be able to accomplish is our zero waste goals.
Okay. And what's in the way, or what do we need to do to make sure that it happens?
Well, I think we have to have a full commitment from our community, and I think we have a lot of that for zero waste and planning in our solid waste disposables, and actually making sure that our water runoff is actually retained, and we're able to put that into to save that water so that it is reusable for reclaimed water. Okay.
Following you here. So I'm going to circle back. Transportation, beyond the rail and beyond Prop 1 investments, what else do we need to be doing on transportation to cut down on transportation emissions and VMT?
Well, we need to be encouraging bus service. A lot of our community does not ride bus, and we need to be doing that. We also need to be encouraging cycling. Since I've been on council, I've really grown to appreciate how fun it is to cycle and what an environmental benefit it is to the community. I actually championed starting a cycling club at the University of Texas for the African American students there.
Cool.
So I think we need to be doing bicycling, we need to be encouraging pedestrian walking, and oftentimes I joke we even need to be skateboarding, but we need to do everything to get out of our cars.
All right. Let's circle back to energy. We're past this goal of 100% renewable.
100%.
Say more about what that means in terms of making decisions at Austin Energy, and should the City Council stay the management of it?
I believe that the City Council should retain management of Austin Energy and serve as its governing body.
You think it should be just the council members? Should it be a committee, including other people, or
well,
subset?
I think we have to, Brandy, this is a really important topic, because we have to recognize that we have in the energy company actually our own utility, a commercial enterprise
Right.
that requires a level of expertise and time commitment that many council members have a difficulty making. So we need that expertise, and we need a structure to be able to get that expertise. And we have a lot of that in the Electric Utility Commission, but we need a form to be able to get that on a more frequent basis. But I still believe we should be the governing body for that. And so the goal would be to actually have reliable, affordable energy that is delivered that is also clean.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about energy? Where we should or shouldn't be getting it from? How about the nuclear?
Thank you. I really think that we have to have a plan to deal with both Decker and Fayette.
Okay.
Both of those plants use way too much water, and Decker uses way too much natural gas. And I believe that we have kind of started the discussions of using more solar at Decker, and I would be fully supportive of that. And as far as Fayette, I mean, we just have a situation there with LCRA that definitely needs to be reprogrammed so that we are able to reduce our reliance on Fayette and even close it over a period of time that is economically feasible for the utility.
Okay. And I know you believe in partnerships and things, and that would take a partnership because we are co-owners with LCRA. How would you approach that?
Well, we are co-owners with LCRA, and we have to look at that business model, and we also have issues with our bond covenant. So there's a lot of entanglements with the financial implications of actually divesting totally from Fayette. But I think that that is just negotiating tools that have to be used in terms of, could we actually have no more ownership or only ownership of one, and LCRA have ownership of two, and then we consider closing the one, and what does that economic model look like over a period of time?
Okay. Let's talk about urban farms. Tell us where you provided leadership and what your vision is for our local urban agriculture.
Well, local urban agriculture and local food industry is very important to the economy of Austin, and it's also very important to our health issues and concerns. Back when we had the issue before council about the urban farms and where they could be located, and having them in East Austin, and whether they were compatible with single-family dwellings, I took a leadership role in trying to, and actually crafting a compromise in that the urban farms would not be located and considered in a single-family neighborhood, but they could be had in a single-family neighborhood, but there was also certain forms of slaughtering that would not take place at the farm. So that was a compromise between the neighborhood and the urban farmers.
Okay. Let's see, we've covered energy, single-use bag ordinance. You were supportive? And
I was supportive of the bags, but I still leave my bags in the car and have to go back and get them. I don't believe you. Yeah, I always turn right back around and go get them. But I support the bag ban. I think it was a really proud move forward that the city made to protect our environmental values.
And you think we should even look at other problem products or materials?
Oh, yeah. We should look at other problem materials. Biodegradable products like our detergents that come out in our water usage. We should compost more. We should. There's a lot we can do.
Okay. On the parks, you're big into parks and what they provide in terms of quality of life and how we invest in them. Say more about where we need to head in the future.
Parks are a critical element of our quality of life. You know, I have 3 boys, so I don't think I would have kept my sanity but for the park system in Austin. I've been a champion of the parks ever since I've been on council, and we need to have first-class parks. I was the lead council member for the Waller Creek redevelopment, and that is essentially a park downtown designed to be family friendly, and I just don't think we can have enough pocket parks, enough destination parks, or places where we can come together and play.
Right, but you don't think the city can do it on its own?
No, no. I definitely think the city has to partner with other entities like conservation districts and conservancies. We need to partner with conservancies and other private enterprises to be able to get the funding into the parks that is really needed there, because they desperately need funding. I really did champion funding for the parks in the last budget year, about $3.6 million. And as much as that was, it still didn't feel like enough because they are so underfunded.
Yeah. Okay. Energy in the realm of water. Circling back to that, you have this idea that we should be doing something along the lines of Pecan Street, in the way they're innovating around energy. That we need a comparable thing for water. What would that accomplish, and what do you see coming out of that?
Oh, I think that is one of the novel ideas that have been sort of tiptoed around in other places. But the idea is that we need to be on the forefront of the innovation for water and looking at water sources and thinking of our water in a whole new way. Brandy, I'm from Wichita Falls, so I tell you, water is precious. And it's being able to put together a think tank about how we're going to manage that resource into the future, I think was a very good idea.
Excellent. And on the water, purple pipe, rainwater catchment, gray water, say where you stand and how you would provide leadership on those.
Oh, we absolutely have to have more purple pipe. We have to support rainwater. It is just a critical and important resource that we have to manage. And we have to do that consistently. And we have to look at ways of funding that. I mean, our economic model for our water utility has to constantly be updated for water conservation and all the methods that we use to obtain other water sources. Right.
So, I mean, I know you're into the budget. That's one of your areas. So, what is the financial model for Austin Water going forward? If we, especially if we start getting people to reuse on site. Are you for gray water? You said purple pipe, and you said rainwater catchment.
I am for gray water. I think that we need to use gray water, especially for our golf courses and reclaimed water. And
what about on yards? Or?
Well, in yards, yeah, yards would be good. I think that we really have to look at other water sources and how we define those sources and what they can be used to serve. And yes, I am into the budget, but I think that the budget is a document or a tool to be able to deliver on our environmental values at the same time.
Right. So, but going back to the financial model for Austin Energy or for Austin Water, how do we, if we conserve more and more and more, and people reuse all that water they were, paying to put on their lawn, they're not going to be, double using. How does the water utility make it? What are we going to do?
Well, I mean, that is the ultimate question, but we never want to get into the position of discouraging conservation.
Right.
So at the same time, we have to look at how our rates are structured. I mean, there's no easy answer to that question, because you have to look at affordability for the water utility just like we do for the Austin Energy. But I think that can be done with an adequate amount of education and the structure of our water rates.
Okay, let's shift to land use. So the land development code is being rewritten based on Imagine Austin, Code Next. And how do you want to be involved in that? What do you see as the outcome of it? And can we get to a city that is sustainable using it?
Well, sustainability and our environmental values are embedded into the rewrite of the land development code. It often does not get talked about as much as compact and connected is actually talked about as being a value, and that also kind of falls into environmental considerations. But I think that it's going to be important when we look at that plan for redevelopment and rewrite that we consider we're going to have to consider cost, but it needs to be cost that also recognize the environmental implications. So, for example, if we are talking about building in our core transit corridors, we have to make sure that those corridors have places where people can live, work, and play, and also community gardens at the same time.
Right. Okay, so you're already in office, but if you were to be elected mayor, what would be the one thing you would want to be known for? If you could accomplish one thing and not fail, what would you want to take on?
If I could accomplish one thing and not fail, especially in the eco-network environmental world, it would be that Austin Energy would continue to be a profitable model that delivered clean, reliable energy that was both affordable.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell us?
I have come to grow on council with the environmental issues. I did not bring much of that background to council, and I've appreciated that experience.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
really
you, Brandy.
Appreciate it.